I start this provocative video with the title, Where is your God? I repeat, where is your God? Has Jesus Christ failed Christianity, failed his people? In history, if we look back at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, when in 1844 they said that Christ would return, and it didn't happen, and as a result many Seventh-day Adventists fell away. And to save face, the William Miller movement and Ellen G. White establishment decided we need to keep this business going, or we're going to lose a lot of money, a lot of investment. So what they did, they conjure up another excuse for this so-called failed prophecy by saying that, well, Jesus didn't appear. And the reason for this is in 1844 we had an inaccuracy. Instead, he went into heaven. Nearly 2,000 years later, he ascended into heaven to sit at the right hand of the Father. This is how they found the excuse to cover up embarrassment. So many people lost their faith. They sold their houses, they sold their property and went out into the fields, like I'm in the field right now. And many did that. They went into the fields and they looked up and nothing happened. They lost their faith. What's interesting, if we look at the modern world today, we see blasphemy. We see a lot of things going on at gay pride, where you've got gay people hanging themselves on a fake cross and snogging, kissing, fondling each other, dressed in quote-unquote Jesus apparel. And this is allowed to go on in the Western world, where Jesus can be blasphemed, mocked, in a Western culture that is supposed to be Christian. Yet they allow this Christian blasphemy to go on at this gay pride. And many would beg to ask the question, how is it that with all this going on, the church is silenced? How is it the church pastors have nothing to say regarding all the blasphemous activities, the Muslims killing Christians all over the world, and the church is silent? The church has nothing to say about Christians who've been persecuted. And we need to ask ourselves the question, maybe, just maybe, biblical prophecy, Christ has failed his people. The church is quiet. The government are allowing the LGBT to blaspheme. Many Christians are afraid to even have a fish on their cars. Many Christians are ashamed to declare Christ. I'm asking the same question again. Where is your God? Has he failed? Now, many people would say he has. He's failed miserably. The Christian world has turned to rubble. There is no confidence in the church. It's all about making money and twisting the Bible to suit the liberal agenda. However, let me give you my humble biblical prophecy and interpretation. You see, if at the end of the day these blasphemies did not take place, if at the end of the day the Christians did not become greedy, if at the end of the day most Christians did not end up worshipping their pastors, turn them into hero worship, then the Bible would have failed. Christ's prophecy would have failed. If at the end of the day there was no lawlessness, if at the end of the day all these things had not taken place, then Christ's prophecy would have failed. But they haven't. Jesus did not say that, oh, in the last days the church will come to me, in the last days people will worship me and not their pastors. He said the opposite. People will listen to false teachers. People will listen to counterfeit gospel. That's what Christ said. Many will say, here is Christ there, and the church will fall, the world will fall. Christ didn't say in the last days there'll be no blasphemy. Instead, in 2 Timothy, it says people become lovers of their flesh, turning to sexual immorality. This is what Christ taught. So no, he hasn't failed. If anything, his prophecies, look at the beautiful birds. If you can see them. Oh, you can't see them. No, you can't see them. Right? In fact, his prophecies, his coming true. People are becoming blasphemous. He said people shall become godless. Children will have no manners to their parents. Look at the laws today. Children's rights. And as a result, you look at kids today, how the liberal establishment sexualize children. We're now living in the days of Babylon, the days of Canaan, paganism. And Christ said that would happen before he comes. People shall pray for death. Such will be the disaster of the planet. The planet will be so messed up. Immorality. Look at all the liberal agenda. It's all about love. It's all about love and tolerance. And you know something? There's more hate in the world. But you know why? Because Christ said in the last days people shall hate each other, murder and kill. There'll be rumors of wars. People shall mock God. I think the dog has a demon inside of him. I seem to have manifested a demon inside the dog. Must be a liberal owner. Must be a liberal owner. The dog was possessed by a demon. Oh, wow. Okay, let's get back serious. So, in other words, and that is, no, Christ hasn't failed. If anything, he is winning. Why he's winning? Because everything he said is coming to pass. People, don't forget the days of Noah. In the days of Noah, they were mocking God. Even the children of Israel were bowing down to golden calf. And even they saw the power of God, but still human nature being what it is, they became a rebellious people. And God wiped them out. When it only takes God just push, and sooner or later the hammer will break the board. And what's happening now, the world is pushing towards immorality, pushing towards a godless, Christless world. And you watch what happens. Has God failed? Is the Bible fake? Everything the Bible has said has come to pass. People no longer fear God. In the days of Noah, they didn't fear God either. People were having sex with animals. They were having sex in pagan temples. They did not fear God. And history tells us God destroys kingdoms one after the other, showing his power. And in Daniel, it shows us Christ's kingdom, one made from gold, pure gold, an everlasting kingdom, one that cannot perish or be destroyed. The world is breathing its last breath. Even atheists are saying, when they see how filthy the world is becoming, even the atheists are saying, God, I can't take anymore. This is what the Bible says people will do. we shall pray for death. We will run to the mountains and say, mountains cover us up. That's how filthy Satan will make this world turn to. Has God failed? No, he hasn't. He's rolling his sleeve up. He's rolling his sleeve up, waiting for action. He's on the winning side. So no, he hasn't failed. He's only just warming up. I teach singing lessons, and when my students they're coming through the doors, and within 10 minutes they're passing out with so much vocal stamina and vocal projection I give them, and I said, you know something, I'm only just warming up. What? I'm only just warming up. Well, with all the disasters you see around the world, God is only just warming up. He hasn't failed. If the church had become holy overnight and perfect, if the world became moral, then he would have failed. But he says in the last days, many will fall away, even the very elect, if it was possible. Meaning the church and the mega churches, they're all following a counterfeit prophet, fake spirits, and it's prophesied that would happen. False Christ would come. So you can see it happening now. So no, he hasn't failed. The world will get worse.